We had already Strategic Command Force, which was responsible for developing, managing, controlling all our missiles and rockets. So what was the need to create another force, Army Rocket Force Command?
This rocket force has four key features which distinguishes it not only from Pakistan's Army Strategic Force Command, but also from the traditional artillery formations. It offers very extended range and capability to penetrate deep inside enemy territory, way beyond battlefield targeting requirements. As compared to a fighter aircraft, these rockets are cost effective, and Pakistan has the capability to indigenously produce them in a large number. Pakistan has developed, mastered, and recently employed in Bunyan al-Marsoos the capability to inflict serious pain and damage on Indian military capability way beyond battlefield operations. In any future conflict or crisis, Pakistan will have an option below the nuclear threshold to cause serious damage to India and increase the pain and punishment and price of any aggressive attempt against Pakistan.
Why these terror activities, militant activities are getting intensified in Balochistan? How you see security situation in the days to come in future as well?
There are people who use their position in academia or civil society and media to create sympathy for those organizations and individuals who are carrying out a terror campaign against the peaceful Pakistani people and armed forces and the state of Pakistan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, in today's program, we will discuss two important topics which has immense relevance and importance for Pakistan. Number one, on the night of 13th and 14th of August, Prime Minister of Pakistan announced Army Rocket Force Command. What is this command and what this command will do as far as defense of Pakistan is concerned? And what was the need to create this Army Rocket Force Command? Second, we will discuss latest security situation in Balochistan. The Chief Minister of Balochistan, in a press conference, announced that the Intelligence and Security Agency foiled a major plot to create disturbance and terror on 14th of August in Balochistan, particularly in Balochistan capital. Secondly, an important academic person, professor, has been arrested who was during investigation, it was proved and it was revealed that he was facilitator for the terrorists. What is this phenomena? How these terror organizations are trapping educated people? And the professor who was arrested and interrogated, he had a doctorate degree from University of Peshawar, master's degree from Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. How this phenomena could be controlled, what efforts needed, what strategy needed. To discuss this all, fortunately, we have with us Dr. Syed Muhammad Ali, Senior Strategic Affairs Analyst. Dr. Syed Muhammad Ali, sir, very warm welcome to program Insight in V News English.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
So, Dr. Sahab, I will start with this. Since you have expertise, command, and very good analysis, information, and everything almost as far as Pakistan's missile and rocket domain is concerned. On the night of 13th and 14th of August, Prime Minister of Pakistan addressing Marika-e-Haq ceremony at Sports Complex in Islamabad in the presence of Chief of Army Staff Field Marshal Asim Munir and galaxy of Pakistan's top military personnel, senior military officers, lieutenant generals. So what does this mean? We had already Strategic Command Force, which was responsible for developing, managing, controlling, all our missiles and rockets. So what was the need to create another force, Army Rocket Force Command? Dr. Saab.
Thank you very much for inviting me on your program, Mateen Saab. I agree with you. It is very important to understand that Pakistan already has a very elaborate and professional force, Army Strategic Force Command.
Exactly.
Which is responsible for maintaining, training, logistics, and also operationalizing Pakistan's missile capability. But it is very important to clarify and distinguish that the role and function of Army Strategic Force Command was to manage Pakistan's delivery systems primarily meant for Pakistan's strategic capability, which means that Pakistan's Army Strategic Force Command is primarily responsible for managing and maintaining Pakistan's operational delivery means, which have a dedicated role for our deterrence purposes. And they have a specific nuclear capable role. And that involves our missiles ranging from, short range missiles like Abdali, like Ghaznavi, like Nasser, to intermediate range missiles like Shaheen, Shaheen 1A, Shaheen 2, or slightly longer range missiles like Shaheen 3 or Ababil. So these missiles have a dedicated strategic role. That is why they are part of Pakistan's Army Strategic Force Command. But it is also important to mention that Army Strategic Force Command is part of Pakistan's National Command Authority, which is headed by Pakistan's Prime Minister according to Pakistan's NCA Act. And all its plans, development, deployment, operations are to be approved by the National Command Authority, which is headed by Pakistan's Prime Minister, which has 4 federal ministers as its members: the Federal Minister of Foreign Affairs, Federal Minister of Defense, Federal Minister of Interior, and Federal Minister for Finance. These are 4 federal ministers who are also member of National Command Authority, along with the 4 4-star military officers, including Pakistan's Army Chief, Pakistan's Chairman Joint Chief of Staff Committee, Pakistan's Naval Chief, and Pakistan's Air Force Chief. And the Secretary of National Command Authority is DGSPD, the Director General of Pakistan's Strategic Plans Division. Now, this organization has a dedicated role of managing, maintaining, and ensuring Pakistan's deterrence capability. So it has a dedicated strategic role. Whereas the newly announced Pakistan Army's Rocket Force Command will have a totally different role. And it is very important to clarify and distinguish it from that of Army Strategic Force Command. There are more specifically 6 very clear differences between role, function, and purpose of these 2 forces. Number 1, the rationale and the need for creating a new force within Army was because of the changing environment, but also because Pakistan had recently mastered and developed a great capability in producing very accurate and effective rockets and missiles. So it was realized that beyond strategically dedicated missiles, Pakistan can develop cost-effective but very accurate and extended range rockets and missiles, which can be employed in conventional role. So this force will have a dedicated conventional role, which is very important to ensure so that it is not confused with the Strategic Force Command. Secondly, why this was needed? Traditionally, the firepower of Pakistan Army was managed from the creation of Pakistan till today by the Corps of Artillery, because Corps of Artillery is the specialized department of Pakistan Army, which trains officers and manages the arsenal of Pakistan artillery, ranging from small scale, guns to 8-inch howitzer and 203 millimeter howitzers. So it has an elaborate and diverse variety of guns and multi-barrel rocket launchers, which Pakistan Army heavily relies on as part of its training, doctrine, and operations. However, the role of Pakistan artillery is restricted to battlefield fire support. That is very important to ensure, because Pakistan artillery provides very effective and professional fire support to Pakistan armored and infantry formations during a conventional conflict in the battlefield environment. Whereas this rocket force has 4 key features which distinguishes it not only from Pakistan's Army Strategic Force Command, but also from the traditional artillery formations. Number one, it consists of those missiles and rockets which are highly accurate, have a very low circular error probability, so they can. And the second feature is extended range. It has rockets and missiles for conventional targeting ranging from 140 kilometer to almost 750 kilometer. So it offers very extended range and capability to penetrate deep inside enemy territory, way beyond battlefield targeting requirements. So it offered a capability to directly target those installations, factories, bases from which any attack can be planned from India against Pakistan. So the scope of its targeting is beyond battlefield fire support. It goes deep inside India to effectively and accurately target and neutralize any threat and capability way beyond the battlefield. So that is the second aspect. The third aspect is the quantity and volume of fire support. Some of these, like Fateh 1, Fateh 2 has almost 300 kg warhead, which is very effective. So even to give you an example, one launch vehicle or a truck which carries Fateh 1 can fire within less than a minute 8 rockets. It can deliver almost 2.5 tons of high explosive at very accurately almost 140 kilometer inside Indian territory. So that amount of firepower also carries a very heavy punch from Pakistan Army. So it reduces the reliance on Pakistan Air Force to risk its expensive aircraft to penetrate deep inside Indian airspace and risk being targeted by their surface-to-air missiles. And this will allow Pakistani rocket forces to accurately, target very high-value targets deep inside Indian territory without putting our fighter aircraft and their pilots into the harm's way. That is the third factor. The fourth factor is the cost effectiveness. As compared to a fighter aircraft, these rockets are cost effective, and Pakistan has the capability to indigenously produce them in a large number, which will allow Pakistan to maintain and sustain combat operations over an extended period of time through indigenous sources, so that the sustainability of its firepower is also very important. And the fourth factor is mobility. Because once the launch vehicle fires these missiles, it quickly moves based on shoot and scoot capability, and then it reloads and fires another volley or salvo of these missiles from a different location. So it becomes difficult for enemy to predict and accurately target this launch vehicle, which might be the case had it been a fixed location. So these 4 advantages were considered very useful and effective, which were employed in the recently Bunyan Marsus operation. And within 3 to 4 hours, Indian forces caved in and begged for ceasefire, both at the bilateral level through the DGMO hotlines, but also through multilateral diplomacy, reaching out to international powers that they need to be saved from India-Pakistani retaliation. The third factor is that there needs to be an institutional mechanism to ensure sustainable and coordinated training, logistics, management, operations, and planning of diverse type of rockets and missiles, which are being employed and which will be employed in future, which also potentially includes hypersonic missiles. And the fourth reason is the doctrinal shift. This is very important that now Pakistan has developed, mastered, and recently employed in Bunyan al-Marsoos the capability to inflict serious pain and damage on Indian military capability way
Most
beyond
important
battlefield
aspect.
operations, and in a very in as part of deep penetration of its capability, despite the advancement of Indian surface-to-air missile capabilities. So it's a doctrinal shift, particularly in the context of Pakistan Army as well, that it is not going to fight only a defensive war at the borders, but it will hit deep inside Indian territory and cause and inflict serious damage at the bases, at the factories, at the storage sites, way beyond the battlefield, which will reduce the capability of Indian armed forces at the operational level on the border to sustain and carry out offensive operations against Pakistan. And the fourth factor is the strategic signaling. It reinforces, it is very important, it strengthens and reinforces Pakistan's current full spectrum deterrence capability. And it reduces the reliance on our nuclear capability, and it increases our nuclear threshold, which means that in any future conflict or crisis, Pakistan will have an option below the nuclear threshold to cause serious damage to India and increase the pain and punishment and price of any aggressive attempt against Pakistan. And lastly, it will, it is the new normal, let me put it this way, in terms of Pakistan's doctrine. Because for almost 20 years, India was seeking space according to its own perception for a limited conflict below the nuclear threshold. So this particular capability and institutionalization of Army Rocket Force Command will prevent and deny India any space below the nuclear threshold and convince them that Pakistan's full spectrum deterrence is very credible, and Pakistan will not immediately resort to nuclear signaling or threats, as is misperceived in some Western quarters and Indian analysts, that in fact it was India which sought international intervention and mediation in the last May conflict, which means that after the establishment of Pakistan's Army Rocket Force Command, Pakistan has raised its nuclear threshold, but perhaps India's nuclear threshold is now lower than that of Pakistan, despite huge investment in its arsenal, huge spending, and large-scale forces.
Dr. Saab, Prime Minister of Pakistan, while addressing this Marka-e-Haq ceremony, also announced that force will be equipped with most modern, sophisticated technology, and it will give extraordinary boost to the defense of Pakistan. As far as defense of Pakistan is concerned, you have elaborated already, but what type of latest technology, as Prime Minister hinted, it could be, this force will be equipped? And quickly, one word, has this force been made operational immediately, right from the time of the announcement by Prime Minister of Pakistan?
Two things. First off, I think it has been announced, but obviously, like a professional department, it will take some time to be raised and be structured and be organized. It will take some time, but I think the principal decision has been taken, which is I think very welcome, and reflects that Pakistan has drawn timely, swiftly, and useful lessons from the recent successes in Operation Buryan and Barsus against India, that Pakistan has the ability to create affordable, high-tech, indigenous security solutions, which can inflict a lot of pain and damage on India, and reduce any space for any perceived aggression against Pakistan. And secondly, your first question, I think it is very important that this will mean that Pakistan has decided to create a dedicated a command which will look after the training, acquisition, maintenance, security, planning, operations, doctrine, all aspects of Pakistan's rocket missile forces. And I want to reinforce again that this will have a dedicated, diverse but conventional role. Beyond the limited range of artillery and below the nuclear threshold of the Pakistani strategic forces. This will have, according to Pakistan Armed Forces sources, this will have diverse weapon systems. It will have rockets. It will have missiles, and it will also have in future perhaps hypersonic missiles, which Pakistan is developing. So, in short, it will ensure that Pakistan will have a more credible deterrence and more effective defense, and it will make the regional security and strategic stability more useful and effective in the years to come, and it will reduce the risk of any Indian aggression and getting away with it without punishment. In short, it is institutional manifestation of Pakistan's quid pro quo doctrine that any Indian aggression in any domain of any level and scale will be punished immediately, effectively, and swiftly at one notch up level. That India will always pay much bigger price than it hopes or wants to inflict on Pakistan through any future aggressive design.
Thank you so much indeed. We will discuss the second topic, security situation in Balochistan. So that is security situation is alarming. Almost every day, armed forces of Pakistan are conducting several intelligence-based operations, and during these operations, several militant and terrorists are killed. But significant thing is that intelligence and security agencies detected and finally filed a plot, a nefarious design plot to create disturbance, to create subversive activity on Pakistan's Independence Day. And by this preemptive action, proactive approach by our intelligence and security agencies, a major plot plan was filed, and that was to create terror on 14th of August in Quetta. As it has been confirmed and announced by Chief Minister of Balochistan, Mr. Sarfraz Bugti. Dr. Sir, what is this phenomenon? Why these terror activities, militant activities are getting intensified in Balochistan? But our armed forces and security agencies, although they are very active and they detected and filed this particular plot, so how you see security situation in the days to come in future as well?
First off, I want to compliment V News English for breaking this very important news almost 24 hours before the Balochistan Chief Minister announced it. We broke this news yesterday, and the most important aspect of this very important news is that it is a huge achievement of Pakistan's security and intelligence organizations who timely identified this very important mastermind and handler of Balochistan Liberation Army, and which has been recently banned as a foreign terrorist organization by the United States. and because he was planning a major attack on Pakistan's Independence Day in Balochistan. And this gentleman was involved directly in the very heinous and deadly attack in
Quetta railway
November
station.
2024 on the railway station, in which
Exactly.
more than 30 civilians and more than 20 armed forces personnel lost their lives. So it is very important and a great success that this individual was identified and captured before he could carry out more such activities. What is very disturbing is the fact, as you rightly pointed out, is that he does not belong to any, illiterate or radicalized, poorly educated or poor background. But he was an assistant professor, and he had a Doctor of Philosophy degree, a PhD degree and he was highly educated, and he
His
was
wife and
teaching as
mother,
a
they were
faculty
also
member. He was teaching as a faculty member in Quetta. His wife was also a government officer,
multiplied.
and he comes from a family which also draws pension from the government. And so it was very tragic that such an individual who had benefited personally and also his entire
Honestly.
family from government sources, funding to pursue his education and develop his career, used his position not only to cultivate and brainwash Pakistani youth and to engage them and encourage them to join the ranks of terrorism. So that is the most, I think, unfortunate part, which is unimaginable for the people associated with the sacred profession of academics to be indulging in. Secondly, he was not just cultivating and engaging people to join terrorism, but also he was directly involved and linked with the foreign based masterminds of Balochistan Liberation Army, like Harbayar Mari. He was also facilitating and providing refuge in his own residence to terrorists who were later, sent on terror attacks across Pakistan. So that was also part of his very heinous activities. So I think there are a lot of lessons for Pakistan from this successful capture, that there are people who use their position in academia or civil society and media to create sympathy for those organizations and individuals who are carrying out a terror campaign against the peaceful Pakistani people and armed forces and the state of Pakistan. So I think it's a very useful lesson, which I hope Pakistani state, Pakistani Higher Education Commission, Pakistani academia, Pakistani civil society, and Pakistani judiciary must draw that the concept of freedom of speech, the concept of freedom to protest, the concept of intellectual freedom is very important for any developing and peaceful society. But these fundamental freedoms and rights, which are enshrined in Pakistan's constitution and UN Charter, cannot be allowed to be used by such terrorist masterminds to promote terrorism, to create anti-state sentiments, and to help facilitate terror activities against any country, including Pakistan. And I think no peace-loving and law-abiding society or country can allow any individual to use the garb of academic or civil society activists, or to create hatred within the country, to promote terrorism, to support terrorism, and to cultivate individuals and encourage them to indulge in terrorism. So that is something very important for our state to look at, but also more important for our academia to do soul searching. Recently, an important action was carried out in the hostels of Pakistan's number one university, Quaid-e-Azam University, in which almost 1,000 people were overstaying without paying their dues. And police carried out a very important action. So it is very important that Pakistani universities are free from these terrorists, so that the students and teachers who are doing a very valuable service in Pakistan's development are free from fear, and they feel safe, and they actually meaningfully contribute to the progress of Pakistan.
One quick thing, 2 minutes are left. How you see this development designating BLA and Majid Brigade as a terrorist organization by the Department of State of the United States of America? And that development came immediately after the very successful visit of Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir to United States of America, where he held very, very important meetings with the top leadership just last week.
I think it's very important, and this reflects that the US considers Pakistan's national security and territorial integrity as something which it shares in terms of its own national security interests. And those proxies which are Indian sponsored, including BLA and Majid Brigade, which are carrying out terrorist acts against Pakistan, are now considered as harmful to US national security interests. This indicates and proves that now there is greater sharing of threat perception between Pakistan and the US, and its South Asia policy has changed, and now it has serious doubts about the sincerity and responsibility of India towards not just regional stability, but also global security and the threat of terrorism, which it is indirectly supporting and promoting, unlike Pakistan, which is the worst victim of terrorism and also the most important bulwark in the global war on terror against global and regional terror outfits.
One sentence, since you are expert in strategy, what type of strategy is now needed to tackle this emerging situation of security, terrorism, and these all things? I will connect KP as well, wherein last 4-5 days, more than 10 districts were under attack by the terrorists. What type of strategy, that hard state approach, is needed to eliminate terrorism?
I think, briefly put, I think we need a multi-domain, comprehensive, whole-of-nation approach. Kinetic action is important against, through intelligence-based operation against proven individuals who are involved directly in terrorism. However, it needs to be reinforced through a political prong, that the political leadership of the affected provinces take the lead in addressing the governance issues and the grievance of the people. Third is the information prong, which is very important for social media, electronic and print media, to warn the people of the anti-state narratives and also exposing those who are involved. The fourth aspect is the intellectual and academic prong, that our academia and our religious organizations and seminaries must also be free and be loyal to the state. And lastly, our judiciary has to play a very important role in terms of improving the judicial processes, so that our judiciary is protected, and also take timely and effective measures, so that they become the first line of defense and a legal deterrence against the terrorists within the society.
Thank you so much indeed, Dr. Syed Mohammad Ali Saab, Senior Strategic Affairs Analyst, who extensively highlighted two very, very important issues. One, that is Pakistan new rocket Force Command, purpose, rationale, and how it will boost Pakistan's defense capability. And second, most important and pressing issue of security situation in Balochistan, strategically highlighted, and Dr. Saab said that whole of the nation approach is needed to tackle this situation. as a strategy in the days to come. Thank you so much once again. Despite your very busy schedule, you spared time and participated in our program. Dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.